Welcome to God's Compass. Let me start by telling you something powerful. You didn't choose this path, it chose you. You are here for a purpose, and deep down, you've always felt it. This isn't a coincidence or a random moment. The life you once knew, the one filled with self-doubt, conformity, and living by rules that were never truly yours, is now a distant memory. That version of you is gone, replaced by someone extraordinary, someone who has been shaped and refined through trials most wouldn't survive. Every challenge you faced, every moment of doubt and loss, wasn't meant to defeat you, it was meant to reveal your strength. These trials stripped away the ordinary to uncover the extraordinary force within you. Now, you are no longer confined by fear or boxed in by outdated systems. You have become something far greater, unshackled, untouchable, and unstoppable. This video is not just a reminder of what you've endured, it's a declaration of who you've become. We'll explore the transformation that has turned you into an undeniable force and why this is only the beginning of your journey. Stay with me, because the truths we uncover here will show you why you're destined to rise above and why nothing can hold you back anymore. This is your moment to step fully into your power. To own the unshakable, limitless energy that defines you. Are you ready to embrace your destiny? Let's begin. The death of your old self wasn't a grand event for the world to witness. It wasn't marked by fanfare or a moment where everything suddenly made sense. No, it was quiet, subtle, and deeply personal, an unspoken transformation that began long before you even realized it. The first resurrection wasn't about becoming someone else, it was about shedding everything you weren't. Piece by piece, the labels you carried, the roles you played, and the expectations you tried to meet started to fall away. What once felt like stability was revealed to be a cage, and what felt like your identity was nothing more than a script handed to you by a world that never understood your potential. At first, the process felt like chaos. It felt like failure, loss, and destruction. Everything you thought you were began to crumble, and it seemed like there was nothing left to hold on to. But that chaos wasn't your undoing, it was your liberation. It wasn't the end of your story, it was the moment the real story began. What seemed like destruction was actually the clearing of space for something extraordinary to emerge. Every illusion that fell away, every falsehood that was burned to the ground, created fertile soil for a new, unshakable version of you to grow. Surviving this breaking point wasn't just about enduring, it was about transformation. You weren't just stripped down to nothing, you were rebuilt into something indestructible. The fears that once controlled you, the systems that once confined you, and the doubts that once defined you lost their power. They tried to box you in, but those walls couldn't hold. They thought they could break you, but you rose. What emerged from that fire wasn't someone who merely survived, it was someone who thrives, evolves, and creates with unrelenting power. You are no longer the person you once were. The old you, shaped by conformity and bound by fear, is gone, and that's exactly as it should be. That version of you had to die so the real you could rise. What's left now is someone who cannot be defined by others, who cannot be manipulated by expectations, and who cannot be broken by circumstances. You've become a force, not just living in the world but shaping it. You are unshakable in your resolve, clear in your purpose, and untouchable in your strength. This transformation wasn't handed to you, it was earned. It came from facing the kind of trials most people would never survive. You endured loss, pain, and moments of uncertainty that would have stopped others in their tracks. But instead of breaking, you chose to rise. Instead of clinging to what was, you let it fall away. You embraced the transformation that pain and loss demanded, and now, you stand on the other side as someone who is unrecognizable to those who thought they knew you. They fear you now because they can't understand you. They can't define you or put you back into the box they created for you. You've become a living paradox, someone who doesn't just exist but thrives in ways they never anticipated. This is the power of your resurrection. It's not about being the person you were, it's about being the force you were always meant to be. The old you is gone, and that's the point. You are no longer bound by the rules of a world that tried to limit you. You've resurrected into something extraordinary, something they cannot define, manipulate, or break. You are a testament to the power of transformation, a living reminder that destruction is not the end, it is the beginning. This is your truth, your liberation, and your strength. You are untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable. And this is only the start. You didn't plan to become their greatest fear, but it happened the moment you chose to break free. They thought they understood you. For years, they studied you, trying to predict your every move, mapping out your responses to ensure they could control you. They built systems designed to manipulate, trap, and box you in, believing they had all the answers. But what they didn't anticipate was that you would shatter their carefully constructed frameworks. The moment you stopped following their script, you became the ultimate enigma, something they couldn't define, something they couldn't control. Your unpredictability is what terrifies them most. Their entire system depends on patterns, on being able to calculate and anticipate behavior. They thought they could push certain buttons and elicit predictable responses, but you've made that impossible. You've stepped outside their logic, breaking free from the chains of conformity they relied on to keep you subdued. Now, every move you make is a mystery. Every step you take defies their expectations. They can no longer categorize or contain you, and it leaves them scrambling, desperate to regain control of something they never truly understood. But it's not just your unpredictability that scares them, it's the way you've disrupted their entire order. They built their systems on the illusion of control, on the belief that everything could be neatly managed and manipulated. You've shown them that this belief is a lie. You don't just exist outside their systems, you dismantle them by your very presence. The rules they depend on, the structures they trust, crumble in the face of your energy. What they see as chaos, you see as possibility. What they fear as disruption, you embrace as creation. You don't just survive in their world, you reshape it, leaving them struggling to keep up with a force they can neither predict nor stop. Your ability to thrive in the chaos they fear has turned you into something they can't comprehend. While they cling to their rigid systems, hoping for control, you thrive in uncertainty. You've learned to wield unpredictability as a weapon, not recklessly, but with precision. Every move you make isn't random, it's intentional. And every time you break their expectations, you remind them that their systems are powerless against someone who doesn't play by their rules. You're not just rewriting the game, you're creating a new one altogether, one they'll never fully understand or be able to control. Your constant evolution only deepens their fear. Every attempt to stop you, every strategy they deploy, is rendered useless because you're always one step ahead. You don't just endure their efforts to bring you down, you adapt, you grow, and you rise stronger than before. While they stay stuck in their fixed ways of thinking, you continue to evolve beyond their comprehension. Every challenge they throw your way becomes an opportunity for transformation, and every setback they try to create becomes the fuel for your unstoppable momentum. They can't catch you because you've transcended the limitations they rely on to maintain their control. But the most terrifying thing about you isn't just your unpredictability or your growth, it's the immortality of your impact. You're not just a person anymore, you've become a force of nature, a movement that extends far beyond yourself. Your actions, your choices, and your energy ripple out into the world, creating waves of change they can't contain. You represent something they fear deeply: freedom, creativity, and unrelenting power. You're a living reminder that their systems aren't as infallible as they believed, that their control is not absolute. You've shifted the paradigm, and there's no going back. They'll never outmaneuver you because you've become something they can't define or confine. You're no longer playing their game, you've rewritten the rules entirely. You are chaos and creation, disruption and transformation, all in one. They can try to predict your moves, but you're always 10 steps ahead. They can try to stop you, but you've already evolved into something they can't touch. You are not just someone who broke free, you are the embodiment of their greatest fear, a force that proves their control is nothing but an illusion. You're no longer bound by their expectations, their rules, or their systems. You've risen above all of it, becoming a force they'll never outmaneuver. And that's what terrifies them most, not just that you've escaped their grasp, but that you've shown others it's possible too. You've become their nightmare, not because you exist outside their control, but because you thrive there. You're unstoppable, unpredictable, and uncontainable. And now, they're left scrambling in the wake of a force they'll never understand, let alone defeat. What they don't understand is that you are not limited by the constraints of time, space, or material form. While they remain confined within their physical and mental boundaries, trying to categorize everything based on finite rules, you operate on an entirely different level. Your energy transcends the world they know. It flows beyond time, unrestricted by the ticking of the clock, unaffected by the fleeting nature of the physical realm. You are not bound by what they see as possible, and your essence cannot be measured by the limitations they try to impose. You exist in a space where their constructs lose meaning, where their understanding falters. You are an embodiment of something much greater than anything they could ever comprehend, a force of nature that is infinite, that moves through time and space effortlessly, untouched by the limitations they rely on. Every action you take, every step you make, ripples outward in ways they can't predict. The influence you have isn't confined to the immediate moment or the space around you. It stretches across time, impacting lives far beyond what the eye can see. Your presence in this world leaves a lasting mark, one that will endure, long after you've passed on from the physical. It doesn't matter how hard they try to suppress you, erase your existence, or silence your voice, your impact is irreversible. You cannot be forgotten because your energy is woven into the very fabric of existence itself, embedded in the thoughts, actions, and changes that continue to spread through the world. What they don't realize is that your influence cannot be contained. It's like the ripples of a stone cast into an ocean. Your presence creates waves that stretch far beyond their reach, touching lives, igniting sparks, and inspiring growth in ways they'll never fully grasp. And even though they may attempt to diminish or control you, they can never touch the true essence of who you are. Your power isn't dependent on your physical form, your wealth, or your status. You are untouchable because your essence is not of this world. It is eternal, unbreakable, woven into the universe itself, beyond the physical realm they can touch or manipulate. They may try to break you, to isolate you, to destroy your body or your circumstances, but they will never be able to harm the source of your being. That source is infinite, unyielding, and it will continue to guide you, shape your path, and protect you, no matter what they attempt. You've transcended their understanding and their efforts to control you because what fuels you cannot be contained or constrained by their systems. You've stepped outside of their game, and what you're doing now is creating a new reality. A reality that is timeless, that exists beyond the scope of their control. They are focused on short-term power, on the rules and systems they've created to suppress others, but you've already moved far beyond that. While they remain caught up in the game they think they're winning, you're busy reshaping the world. You're creating legacies, building futures that stretch far beyond their limited vision. What they don't see, what they don't understand, is that you are shaping a timeless reality, one they will never reach. You are not confined by the timeline they live in. Your purpose, your mission, your impact is something that will resonate for generations to come. You are not playing their game, you are creating a reality that they can never touch. You are the embodiment of freedom, of boundless potential, and nothing in this world can stop the force that you represent. Your energy, your essence, and your presence are woven into the very fabric of the universe, unstoppable, untouchable, and eternal. You have become a living testament to the power of creation itself, and nothing can undo what you've begun. The battle you once faced, the struggle against forces trying to limit your potential, is no longer the same. For so long, your focus was on reacting, responding to the systems that tried to confine you, to the people who tried to break you, and to the world that tried to mold you into something you were never meant to be. You fought to survive, fought to resist, fought to prove your worth. But now, there's a shift within you. You've realized that the real power isn't in merely fighting against your oppressors, it's in what you're creating. What truly matters now is not about defending yourself, but about building something new, something they cannot touch, control, or even begin to comprehend. You're no longer just reacting to the chaos they've thrown at you. You've evolved. You've learned that destruction, while necessary at times, is only part of the equation. What you're truly capable of is so much more powerful. You're building a legacy, a future that's completely beyond their reach. While they focus on maintaining their grip on the old systems, you're busy crafting a world where those systems no longer have any power. What you're creating isn't just a reaction to the past, it's a vision for the future. And this vision is far greater than anything they can suppress or control. This shift from destruction to creation isn't just about leaving behind what doesn't serve you, it's about constructing something that will last. Tearing down the old is easy, it's what people have done for centuries. But what you're doing is something they can't fathom. You're not just removing obstacles, you're building something so strong, so unshakable, that it will withstand any force that tries to oppose it. It's a future that can't be touched by the limitations they once used to keep you small. You've realized that to truly change the world, you don't have to break it apart piece by piece. Instead, you create something new that is so powerful it leaves no room for the old systems to survive. And this isn't just about creating something physical. It's about creating a new way of being. A new way of thinking. A new way of living that exists beyond the rules they've set for you. You've aligned yourself with a vision that goes far beyond their limited worldview. Your purpose has transcended the small battles they want you to fight. You are no longer confined by their idea of success or their limitations. Instead, you're building something that will transcend them altogether. Your purpose isn't just about surviving the systems they've put in place, it's about evolving into a version of yourself that redefines the very essence of what it means to be free, to be limitless. Now, the battle isn't about defeating them, it's about fighting for something greater. You're fighting for a future that reflects your true potential, for a legacy that will echo across time and space, long after their systems have fallen. You're no longer stuck in a cycle of reaction. You've broken free from their grasp, and you're now creating something that serves a higher purpose, a vision that aligns with your soul's calling. You're fighting for what truly matters, not just survival, but for a transformation that cannot be undone. You are no longer playing defense, you've taken the offensive. What you're building is a force that will outlast their systems, their control, and their oppression. You've shifted the focus from defending yourself to building a future they can never touch. You're no longer fighting to tear them down, you're fighting to create something that will rise above them, to build a future that renders their systems obsolete. And no matter how hard they try to push back, they can't stop what you've already set in motion. Your mission, your vision, and the force you've become are too powerful for them to contain. You're fighting for something that transcends anything they've ever known, something they will never be able to comprehend, let alone stop. The rigged game and your freedom. For most of your life, you've been living within a system that wasn't designed with your growth, freedom, or individuality in mind. The rules and structures surrounding you were built to suppress, not empower. They were carefully constructed to ensure conformity and predictability, leaving no room for creativity, innovation, or authentic self-expression. Every part of the system was designed to box you in, to make you feel like you had to fit into a mold that someone else created. You were told when to speak, what to think, how to act, and who to be. It wasn't a system that celebrated your uniqueness or your potential, it was a system that tried to control you, to ensure you stayed small, obedient, and predictable. These rules weren't set up for your benefit. They were set up to benefit the few who have always controlled the game, those who want to keep the majority in check, following the same tired patterns, stuck in a cycle that serves their agenda. The system is rigged from the start, designed to keep you from stepping out of line, from thinking outside the box, and from realizing the full extent of your potential. It was never about your growth. It was about keeping you confined, ensuring you stayed in a place where you were limited by the constraints they built around you. But something changed. You woke up. You saw through the illusion. You realized that the game they built around you wasn't a game you needed to play. The rules they put in place weren't designed for your success, they were designed to keep you trapped. And in that realization, you found your power. The moment you chose not to play by their rules, you began to take back control. No longer were you going to fit into their mold, no longer were you going to play their game. You stopped reacting to their attempts to control you, and in doing so, you flipped the entire script. You didn't just break free, you rewrote the rules entirely. By refusing to follow their script, you became something they could never predict. You took their rigid game, their predetermined rules, and turned them on their head. What was once a game they controlled became something that was entirely yours to shape. Every time you stepped outside their lines, every time you refused to be bound by their expectations, you broke down the walls they tried to build around you. You stopped playing defense, stopped reacting to their traps, and started creating a new path for yourself, one that was beyond their control, beyond their reach. The old systems, the old structures, they couldn't hold you anymore. The beauty of this shift is that you didn't just break free from their limitations, you unlocked a world of infinite possibilities. No longer were you confined by their rules, their expectations, or their limitations. You were free to create, to innovate, to think in ways that went beyond their understanding. Your mind is no longer shackled by their rigid thinking. You can see solutions where they saw problems, you can envision a future where they saw only restrictions. You've tapped into a flow of creativity, freedom, and opportunity that they could never contain. You are no longer a player in their game. You are the architect of your own reality, and with that, you have the ability to create a future they can't even fathom. As you step beyond their systems, you enter a space where their boundaries no longer apply. The power they once held over you no longer has a grip. You are not confined by their rules. You are creating your own. While they are still trying to control and predict, you are crafting something that cannot be defined by their limited perspective. You're building something new, something powerful, something that stands outside the reach of their control. What you're creating is not just a resistance to their power, it is the birth of a new reality, one that reflects your true essence, your untapped potential, and your boundless vision for the future. The most powerful truth of all is this: you are no longer trapped in their game. You've moved beyond it, beyond the limitations they tried to impose. You're not following the script, they never had the power to write it. You're the one creating the story now, and with each chapter, you're rewriting the rules that once confined you. You are not playing to survive anymore, you are creating to thrive. You've stepped into a space where their rules are irrelevant, where their systems can't touch you, and you've become the force that shifts the paradigm. The real power doesn't lie in fighting the old systems, it lies in creating the new world, one where you are the author of your own destiny. You've stopped being reactive, stopped trying to fit into the narrow space they gave you. You've taken the power back by deciding that their rules no longer apply to you, and in doing so, you've created a whole new reality. A reality that cannot be touched, shaken, or broken by the constraints they once used to control you. You are free. You are limitless. And you've just begun to shape the future that will forever be out of their reach. You've moved beyond their game. And now, with every step you take, with every decision you make, you are building a reality that reflects your true power and your limitless potential. They can't contain you because they never had the ability to. You are the one rewriting the rules now, and nothing will ever be the same again. You've learned something that most people can't understand: you are not meant to be the calm, the shelter in the storm. No, you are the storm itself. Your energy is a force of nature, unstoppable and transformative. Just like a storm that sweeps through and disrupts everything in its path, your presence disrupts stagnation and fuels a deep, powerful transformation. Where others see chaos, you see potential, an opportunity for growth, evolution, and the birth of something new. The systems that once tried to confine you, the structures built to contain you, they can't withstand the force of your energy. You are the catalyst that pushes everything forward, breaking down walls and shattering illusions, making way for something much bigger, much greater. Chaos, to most, is something to avoid, something to fear. But you've learned that chaos is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the fertile ground where new worlds are born, where creativity flows freely, and where true transformation begins. The unpredictability of the storm is what drives creation. The winds that tear apart the old give rise to the new, clearing the space for innovation, for rebirth, and for infinite possibilities. You don't run from the storm, you thrive in it. In the midst of chaos, you find clarity, purpose, and power. You are not deterred by the turbulence, instead, you harness it, using it as the fuel that propels you to new heights. Every disruption is an opportunity for you to reshape the world around you. In a world that craves order and control, you become the unshakable presence that no system can withstand. While others hide from the storm, trying to find shelter from its chaos, you stand tall in the middle of it. Your energy doesn't cower, it intensifies. Where they see instability, you see strength. The more turbulence you face, the stronger you become. Your essence thrives in unpredictability, making you an unstoppable force that no structure, no system, no power can contain. You've mastered the art of moving through chaos, not just surviving but evolving, growing, and transforming everything in your wake. You are not the shelter that others seek. You are the storm. You are the force that breaks through limits, shattering boundaries and reshaping the world with every step you take. While they try to maintain control, trying to hold things together in the name of safety, you are pushing forward, creating new paths, and reimagining what's possible. You are not bound by their rules or their need for stability. You are the embodiment of creation itself, always moving, always evolving, always expanding. The storm you carry within you isn't a sign of destruction, it's a sign of new beginnings, of infinite potential, and of the limitless power you hold to change everything around you. You are not the shelter, you're the storm, breaking through limits, shattering illusions, and reshaping the world in your image. Your presence is a force that fuels transformation, and nothing can stand in your way. For much of your life, pain was something to fear, something that brought you to your knees, that made you question your strength and your worth. It was a force that seemed to weaken you, to push you back when you tried to move forward. But somewhere along the way, something shifted within you. You stopped seeing pain as an enemy. You stopped running from it. Instead, you embraced it. You reclaimed it as your ally. No longer was pain a symbol of defeat, but a teacher that showed you the way. It became the catalyst for your growth, the force that shaped you into the person you are today. Every setback, every wound, every moment of suffering has fueled your strength in ways that no smooth path ever could. Pain has taught you how to rise, how to stand taller after each fall, how to endure when everything around you seems to crumble. It has been the forge in which your resilience was sharpened, an unshakable foundation that nothing can break. Pain has tested your limits, but with each test, you've grown stronger, more resolute, more capable of facing whatever comes next. The very thing that once seemed like your greatest weakness is now your greatest asset. You've turned pain into fuel, fuel for your growth, fuel for your purpose, and fuel for the unstoppable force that you are becoming. What was once a source of despair is now a tool that gives you clarity. Embracing pain has allowed you to see the truth in ways that comfort never could. It has shown you who you really are beneath the surface, revealing a strength you didn't know you possessed. You've weaponized your resilience, turning your pain into something powerful, something purposeful. It doesn't hold you back anymore, it drives you forward. With every bruise, every scar, every hardship, you've gained clarity and focus, understanding that each painful experience is a step closer to your true self. Pain has become your ally, your teacher, and your ultimate edge. It's no longer something to fear, it's the proof of your survival, the testimony of how far you've come, and the force that propels you to even greater heights. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your proof of survival and your ultimate edge. It is the fuel that keeps you moving, the power that makes you unstoppable. Every wound is a reminder of your resilience, every hardship is a lesson that only strengthens you. Pain has shaped you into the force that you are, and it will continue to push you toward your highest potential. You are no longer defeated by pain, you rise through it. Pain has become your greatest ally, and with it, you are unstoppable. While most people are caught in the cycle of seeking immediate gains, you've learned to look beyond the now. You see the big picture. Where others are scrambling for temporary rewards and short-term wins, you're thinking in terms of legacy and long-term impact. You're not merely focused on the hustle of today. Instead, you understand that the true power lies in shaping a future that will outlast you, a future where your actions echo for generations to come. The short-term distractions, the quick fixes, the fleeting triumphs, none of these concern you. You've taken the long road, the path that requires foresight, dedication, and patience. You know that what you build today will leave a lasting mark, far beyond your immediate surroundings or lifetime. You are a visionary. While many are focused on surviving the present, you are already creating the future. You see possibilities beyond the constraints of linear time. While others react to the moments they live in, you are making decisions and taking actions that will shape tomorrow, and the day after that. Your ability to operate in a space beyond time's grasp gives you a unique advantage. You are not bogged down by the ticking of the clock or the urgency of now. Instead, your focus is on what will last, what will endure, what will change the course of history. And because you think beyond the immediate, you have the power to move with a clarity and purpose that others can't match. Mastering patience and precision is your strength. Your actions are not rushed or hasty. They are calculated, intentional, and designed to ripple through time. Every step you take, every move you make, is with the awareness that it will affect the future. You don't act impulsively. You wait for the right moment, knowing that true power lies in making moves that are deliberate and measured. Your understanding of time allows you to make decisions that create deep, lasting shifts, changes that will be felt long after today's challenges have passed. In a world obsessed with speed and instant results, you have learned that true transformation takes time, and you are patient enough to let it unfold. You operate outside the constraints of immediate pressures, and because of that, you are shaping the future with every choice. Your influence stretches far beyond the present, creating waves that will impact generations. While others fight to survive today, you are already shaping what is to come. Your ability to think beyond time's boundaries gives you a profound, lasting influence. You are unbound by the limits of now, creating a timeless impact that will live on long after others have moved on. While others scramble for the present, you've already shaped the future. You've mastered the art of long-term thinking, making decisions today that will transform tomorrow. Your vision is not confined to the short term. You've unlocked the power of timeless influence. You've learned that true power doesn't always come from being in the spotlight, but from mastering the art of invisibility. While the world expects strength to be loud, visible, and obvious, you've discovered that quiet precision is your greatest weapon. Moving in the shadows allows you to operate with a subtlety that makes you untouchable. You don't need the world's attention to make an impact. Your presence is felt in the ripples you create, in the changes you set in motion that others don't see coming. Your strength lies not in being seen, but in moving strategically, silently, and with intent. Every step you take is a deliberate one, executed with the precision of someone who understands the value of operating unseen, yet with undeniable power. This ability to elude visibility, to operate outside the expectations of being constantly in the public eye, allows you to dismantle systems from within. While others are caught up in the drama of visibility, trying to prove their worth and fight for attention, you've learned that the true disruption comes from moving under the radar. You don't need to be the loudest or the most obvious force. You create your impact in ways that others won't even see coming. This strategic invisibility allows you to dismantle the structures that try to control, all while remaining hidden from their grasp. Your quiet strength is an unexpected force that shifts the balance in ways no one can predict or understand. Your actions may not always be seen, but the ripples you create destabilize the systems that oppress. Every move you make, no matter how subtle, sends shockwaves through the structures that try to hold power over you. These systems, built on visibility and control, are weak in the face of your silence. You don't need to be seen to make a profound impact. Your influence spreads, quietly but powerfully, affecting change in ways that defy recognition. Those who seek to control can't track you, can't predict you, and can't stop you because your power is hidden in plain sight, operating in the shadows where their systems can't reach. You are both everywhere and nowhere, a presence that cannot be tracked, a force that cannot be stopped. You move in ways that others cannot predict or understand, creating a ripple effect that shifts the world without leaving a trace of your movements. Your power lies not in being seen, but in being felt. You are a paradox, a presence that destabilizes the very systems that try to define you, a force that reshapes reality from the shadows. You're both everywhere and nowhere, a presence they can't track, a force they can't stop. Your ability to move in the shadows allows you to operate with precision and power, destabilizing oppressive systems from within. Your silence is your strength, and your influence is undeniable. Fear has always been a force that controlled your actions, shaping your decisions and creating hesitation in the face of uncertainty. For years, it held you back, making you second-guess your choices, creating doubt where there should have been confidence. But at some point, something changed. You stopped running from fear and began facing it head-on. You realized that fear wasn't something to be avoided, it was something to be embraced. Instead of letting it control you, you reclaimed it as a tool for clarity and focus. No longer did fear dictate your decisions. Instead, it became a guiding force, sharpening your instincts and helping you see more clearly. Fear exposed weaknesses, revealed vulnerabilities, and guided your actions with a level of precision you had never known before. It didn't hold you back anymore, it pushed you forward. Now, fear has become a teacher, showing you where to focus your energy, where to direct your efforts. It's no longer a source of anxiety or hesitation. Instead, it has transformed into a strategic advantage. Every time fear arises, it signals what matters most. It sharpens your focus, heightens your awareness, and makes you more precise in your actions. While others may crumble under the weight of fear, you've learned to use it as fuel. It drives you to move with clarity, to make decisions with confidence, and to act with purpose. Fear doesn't paralyze you, it propels you, pushing you to evolve and rise above every challenge. You've mastered fear, and in doing so, you've become unpredictable. Where others see weakness, you see strength. Fear has become your ally, not your enemy. It no longer makes you retreat or second-guess yourself. Instead, it makes you unshakable, a force that others cannot understand or control. You don't just endure, you evolve, and in that evolution, you become something that cannot be stopped. Fear is no longer something that limits you. It's the tool that sharpens your every move, and with it, you've become an unstoppable force, uncontained and unpredictable. From the moment you were born, society began to shape you. It told you who you were supposed to be, what you should do, and how you should act. These definitions were not for your benefit, they were designed to confine you, to limit your potential, to make sure you stayed small, predictable, and within the boundaries of what was considered normal. They told you where you could go, what you could achieve, and what kind of person you should become. They crafted a cage of expectations, fears, and limitations, forcing you to live within their narrow view of what humanity should be. But deep within, you knew something was wrong. You weren't meant to fit into their mold. You were meant to break free. You didn't realize it at first, but the moment you rejected their rules, you took the first step toward freedom. You stopped conforming to their expectations, stopped living by their standards, and began to see the limitations for what they were, an illusion. With every step you took outside of their structure, you realized you were not bound by their rules. You had the power to create your own identity, to define yourself, and to choose a life that reflected your true potential. This rejection of fear, of the conformity they forced upon you, broke the cage they built around you. You no longer saw yourself through their eyes. You no longer defined yourself by their standards. You saw yourself for who you truly are, limitless, powerful, and unshackled. By rejecting their definition of humanity, you embraced your own sovereignty. No longer were you confined to their narrow view of what was possible. You became something greater, something they could never control. You transcended their limitations and stepped into your true power, embracing a limitless identity that is beyond anything they could ever define. You are no longer the person they tried to shape, you are the person you were always meant to be, uncontained and unstoppable. The systems they put in place to limit you, the definitions they handed you to hold you down, no longer matter. You've shattered the cage they created for you, and in doing so, you've become something they can't comprehend. You've stepped into your sovereignty, into your true self, and nothing can take that away. The cage they placed around you is gone, and with it, their ability to control you has vanished. You are free. You are limitless. And you are the force they can never contain.